Marshall Peak, Chapter 5802, Off You Go, Marshall Peak. Regardless of whether the Chaos Spirit King was unlucky or not, its anger was obvious at this moment. The last time it had lost its pill, it had relentlessly chased after Xiao Yu. As a result, Xiao Yu had to spend a great deal of effort to escape from it. From this, it could be seen just how persistent the Chaos Spirit King was towards the supreme grade pills. As for Yang Kai, now that he got his hands on the supreme grade open heaven pill, it wasn't difficult for him to escape from this Chaos Spirit King. How could he not be able to do what Xiao Yu could? All he needed to do was use his instantaneous movement a few times, and this Chaos Spirit King wouldn't be able to find him. However, he didn't do so. Rather, he kept the Chaos Spirit King at arm's length, occasionally using his space secret techniques to increase the distance between them. Sometimes, he even exposed his aura so that the other party could pursue him. Thunder Shadow couldn't understand what was going on and asked, "Big brother, what are you trying to do with the Chaos Spirit King? If he was not planning anything, why would he lead it on? He could have easily shaken it off by now." Before Yang Kai could answer, Fang Tianci understood and explained, "It's to prevent others from running into this Chaos Spirit King and suffering some kind of mishap." The Black Ink clan in the Universe Furnace world had suffered great losses in the last battle. Of the two royal lords, one was dead and the other was seriously injured. Even the pseudo-royal lords who managed to escape were mostly heavily wounded. As long as the human race masters were careful enough, even if they ran into the Black Ink clan, they would not be in any kind of grave danger. The only ones that could pose a serious threat to the human race were beings like this Chaos Spirit King, especially the one who was chasing after Yang Kai. This Chaos Spirit King happened to be enraged, so if Yang Kai were to shake it off now, and if any other human were to encounter it, they would be doomed. That was why Yang Kai stayed within the range of its senses so that it wouldn't escape his control. This was also a form of protection for other humans. So long as it was within his power, Yang Kai would naturally do it. In any case, it wouldn't hinder him from doing other things. After listening to Fang Tianci's explanation, Thunder Shadow finally understood, "Big brother is very thoughtful." He couldn't help but mutter, "You humans are really prudent. Most monster race on Myriad Monster World were bold and vicious. They only had one principle when they encountered a crisis: overcome it by any means necessary. If they got into an argument, they would immediately resort to their teeth and claws. So, how could they have such deep and complex thoughts? No wonder the early ancient era monster race met with a downfall and the human race had gradually risen." Ignoring this criticism, Fang Tianci suddenly asked, "Big brother, did you notice something strange?" Yang Kai instead asked back, "What is it?" "There seems to be something wrong with the number of Chaos Spirit Kings inside the Universe Furnace." "You think so too?" Yang Kai raised his brow. He had also noticed this problem before, but he hadn't given it too much thought. "What's wrong with the number of Chaos Spirit Kings?" Thunder Shadow interrupted, totally confused. Fang Tianci simply continued, "According to Big Brother, 9 supreme grade open heaven pills were formed when the Universe Furnace opened this time. Including the one in Big Brother's possession, 6 of them have already been accounted for, leaving only 3 which are missing." "That's right." Inside the soul-warming lotus, a thoughtful look appeared on Thunder Shadow's face. The Universe Furnace has undergone 8 Grand Dao evolutions, so the 9th one should be happening soon. After 9 Grand Dao evolutions, the Universe Furnace will be closed, Fang Tianci added. Thunder Shadow nodded again. Once the Universe Furnace is closed, the 3 missing pills will neither fall into the hands of the human race nor the Black Ink clan, but will instead belong to the Chaos Spirit clan. It can even be said that the 3 pills are currently in the hands of the Chaos Spirit clan, but we don't know where they are. Thunder Shadow looked at him, furrowing its brow as a befuddled look appeared on its face. "What are you trying to say?" Yang Kai chuckled. "Second brother is saying that since these 3 pills are now in the hands of the Chaos Spirit clan, shouldn't 3 Chaos Spirit Kings have been born by now?" "You mean, they haven't?" Thunder Shadow's voice gradually became feebler and feebler. Fang Tianci further added, 3 Chaos Spirit Kings should be born with the opening of the Universe Furnace this time, but what about the past? Each time the Universe Furnace opens, some Chaos Spirit Kings should have been created. But how many Chaos Spirit Kings have we seen since we entered the universe furnace? It was just one. But according to Fang Tianxi's speculations, there should be a lot more Chaos Spirit Kings in this universe furnace, at least a few dozen. Except, judging by the current situation, this universe furnace world definitely didn't have that many Chaos Spirit Kings, otherwise, they wouldn't have encountered only one until now. Perhaps there are other Chaos Spirit Kings, it's just that we haven't discovered them yet. But there are definitely not that many Chaos Spirit Kings in this universe furnace world, Fang Tianxi concluded. Thunder Shadow thought for a moment before asking, what does this have to do with the current situation? Fang Tianxi chuckled wryly, it doesn't matter, we were just casually discussing. Thunder Shadow couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief, thinking that these two were talking about something he hadn't realized. He always believed that he wasn't stupid. Yang Kai then stated, perhaps the effects of the supreme grade open heaven pill on the chaos entities aren't as great as we think. Even if those mindless chaos entities can refine pills, they may not be able to immediately become a chaos spirit king. Rather, they may just become a relatively powerful chaos spirit. The chaos spirits also varied in strength. Some were as strong as 8th order masters while others were only as powerful as 2nd or 3rd order masters. The gap between them was enormous. It might be also because of this that not many Chaos Spirit Kings had been born even after so many supreme grade open heaven pills fell into the hands of the Chaos Spirit clan. As for the exact truth, Yang Kai didn't dare to jump to conclusions, but this conjecture was likely close to correct. Thunder Shadow asked, then, the Chaos Spirit King is relentlessly chasing us all the way just for this pill that might not even help a chaos entity under him advance to become a Chaos Spirit King? Yang Kai laughed, in the end, we were the ones who snatched it. If it wants to pursue us, let it. Saying so, he suddenly turned and flew off in a certain direction. The Chaos Spirit King also pursued right behind him like a shadow. In that direction, a pseudo-royal lord, who happened to be flying through the void, suddenly tensed up as a sense of crisis gripped his heart. A moment later, a powerful and fearsome aura locked onto him. The pseudo-royal lord suddenly turned his head and saw a streak of light shooting straight towards him from a distance. That streak of light happened to be flickering and the void around it was rippling. Sensing that familiar and shocking aura, the pseudo-royal lord's soul nearly left his body as he shouted in panic, Yang Kai, damn my rotten luck. This pseudo-royal lord couldn't figure out how he had encountered this killing star in this place. In the last battle, after Mo Nae fled, the Black Ink clan had suffered a crushing defeat, and the Black Ink clansmen had scattered in all directions. Fortunately, the human race didn't have enough manpower to wipe them out. He happened to be quite lucky as he was not targeted by Yang Shui at that time, giving him a chance to escape that disaster with his life. He had been on the run ever since and had not stopped for a moment. Even if he ran into some humans along the way, he would try his best to conceal himself so as to avoid exposing his whereabouts. According to the information he had obtained from the Black Ink disciples, the universe furnace would close soon. He had entered the universe furnace world from the barren territory, so, as long as he waited for the universe furnace to close, he would be able to safely return there. By then, the human race would not be able to do anything to him, no matter how many 9th order masters they had gained. His journey had been smooth and uneventful so far, and after a long period of safety, he believed that the storm had already passed. But much to his horror, he ran into the most difficult human to deal with. He had also suffered injuries in the last battle, but his wounds weren't that serious. So, at this moment, his strength had not suffered that much. After a brief moment of fear, the pseudo-royal lord became solemn and roared, "Come." In front of such a human who was proficient in the Tao of space, escaping was an unrealistic dream. The pseudo-royal lord immediately made the most appropriate response, taking up an offensive stance to let Yang Kai know that even if he killed him, he would have to pay a huge price. A pseudo-royal lord was also a royal lord, only slightly weaker than a true royal lord. How could he allow himself to be trampled upon? Seeing the pseudo-royal lord in front of him assume an aggressive posture, Yang Kai was slightly surprised, but he did not take it too seriously. While the other party let out an angry roar, Yang Kai quickly closed the distance between them. After reaching a certain critical point, he raised his hand and made a grabbing motion, causing Dao strengths to undulate around him. The next moment, the space-time river gushed out with crashing sounds. The enormous river was like a whip, one end held in Yang Kai's hand as it lashed straight towards the pseudo-royal lord. For the Black Ink clansmen who had participated in the last battle, the space-time river was still fresh in their memories. A pseudo-royal lord got swept into the river at that time before Yang Kai had even broken through. Yang Kai then dove into the river and slaughtered that pseudo-royal lord within a few breaths. Although Yang Kai had only managed to kill that pseudo-royal lord at that time due to a sneak attack, it still showed how strange this river was. Mo-Na Yi also suffered a great loss inside this strange river. Seeing Yang Kai summoning this enormous river once more, the pseudo-royal lord immediately became vigilant. He let out a furious roar as Black Ink strength surged around him before he punched straight towards the river. The great river was shaken and monstrous waves rose and fell one after another. The impact almost blew the river in half. The pseudo-royal lord's face lit up with joy, but the next moment, his expression took a turn for the worse, because although it looked like that river was about to snap in half, it ultimately didn't. The river was like a whip, it bent a few times before ruthlessly lashing out at him again. Dao strength surged violently as the Grand Daos evolved and developed. The pseudo-royal lord was struck so hard that it knocked the senses out of him. In an instant, he lost his consciousness as a whip-like river wrapped around him. Caught off guard, the pseudo-royal lord was engulfed by the space-time river. The enormous river seemed to contain an extremely strange power while destabilizing his mind and perception. He immediately understood why his companion had been killed by Yang Kai, who had yet to break through at that time. After having fallen in this strange river, his strength must have been greatly suppressed, making it difficult for him to display his full power. He wanted to struggle his way out, but an irresistible force swept over and dragged him along. "Off you go!" Yang Kai shouted, and with a flick of his wrist, the pseudo-royal lord who was bound by the whip-like river was sent flying. Afterwards, Yang Kai flew off at an extremely high speed without even looking back even once. In the rear, the pseudo-royal lord looked completely dumbfounded. He was unable to understand what had just happened. Did Yang Kai come here just to humiliate him? If not, why had he not killed him? Martial Peak. Martial Peak, Chapter 5803, Ninth Evolution, Martial Peak. In that kind of situation, he knew that there was no way he could escape from Yang Kai's hands. Perhaps if he fought to the death, he could make Yang Kai pay a price, but it definitely wouldn't be too high. Unexpectedly, this killing star only teased me a little and quickly fled, but why? The next moment, he understood. As soon as he stabilized himself, he felt an extremely sharp and ferocious aura rapidly closing in on him from behind. Furthermore, this aura happened to be even stronger than the Ninth Order Yang Kai. The pseudo-royal lord hurriedly looked back, and instantly saw a figure charging towards him. He had felt this aura and had also seen who it belonged to from a distance in the past. Now that he came face to face with it, it was even more terrifying. The Chaos Spirit King. He was struck with panic. In the blink of an eye, the Chaos Spirit King was already upon him. The Chaos Spirit King's anger was as fierce as an erupting volcano, but it didn't pay any attention to this pseudo-royal lord who was blocking his path. It just casually threw a light punch at him as if it was pushing aside a blockade. It then brushed past him and went chasing after the killing star. Pu, the pseudo-royal lord's figure doubled over and he spurted out a mouthful of black blood. At the same time, his aura fiercely declined as Black Ink's strength started uncontrollably dissipating. Even though it was just a casual punch, the power behind an enraged Chaos Spirit King's attack could still not be underestimated. In addition, the pseudo-royal lord had just been dazed by Yang Kai's whip and was not able to defend himself properly. He was caught off guard and seriously injured in one blow. When he looked up, he saw the Chaos Spirit King's figure gradually disappear from his sight. He was delighted at the sight of this and could not help but laugh, taking pleasure in his enemy's misfortune despite the tremendous pain he was in. Yang Kai is being chased by the Chaos Spirit King. No wonder he didn't have time to pay attention to me. At this moment, an old saying of the human race flashed in his mind: the wicked will be punished by the wicked. Yang Kai, aren't you amazing? Haven't you already broken through to the Ninth Order? So what if you're strong? In the face of that damn Chaos Spirit King, all you can do is flee. He immediately prayed in his heart that the Chaos Spirit King could put in some more effort and kill Yang Kai. However, a smile had just bloomed on his lips when it suddenly froze. Ripples suddenly appeared one after another in the void right before him, just like when a stone is thrown into a calm lake. As these ripples spread outward, a figure materialized out of thin air. In just one step, the figure was standing right before him. The pseudo-royal lord's expression suddenly changed for the worse. At this moment, he realized he had made a mistake. You seem quite happy. Yang Kai, who had just returned, looked at the pseudo-royal lord with curiosity. The other party didn't answer, he just quickly turned around and fled. Had he fought Yang Kai to the death when they just met, he would have been able to bite off a piece of his flesh before dying. But now that he had been seriously injured by the Chaos Spirit King, this notion had already been quashed. He was not this killing star's opponent even at his peak, so how could he resist when he was seriously injured? He did it on purpose. This killing star definitely did this on purpose. He used the Chaos Spirit King to weaken me so he could circle back using his space secret technique to easily finish me off. He never had any intention of letting me live. Where do you think you're going? Yang Kai shouted impatiently. The Chaos Spirit King had noticed his aura and had already changed directions to chase after him. If he didn't want to fight with the Chaos Spirit King, he had to end this battle quickly. As soon as Yang Kai spoke, he manipulated space principles, causing the surrounding void to become viscous, like a swamp, making it difficult for the pseudo-royal lord to move. Yang Kai already had his spear in hand, which he fiercely thrust towards the pseudo-royal lord. The next moment, a ferocious aura shot straight towards the pseudo-royal lord from behind, forcing him to turn around and face it head-on. The last thing that entered his eyes was a rapidly expanding spear tip. Pitch-black blood splashed out as the pseudo-royal lord's head blew apart. The two figures brushed past each other, but Yang Kai didn't stop even for a moment and continued moving ahead, leaving the pseudo-royal lord's corpse behind him that still maintained a defensive posture. A few breaths later, the pursuing Chaos Spirit King once again passed by this place and casually waved its fist. The corpse blocking its path blew into smithereens. Inside the soul-warming lotus, Thunder Shadow muttered to Fang Tian Ci, "Big brother is too sinister." Fang Tian Ci earnestly stated, "In battle, there's no such thing as being too sinister. It wouldn't be difficult for Yang Kai to kill a pseudo-royal lord with his current strength, but he would still need to fight for a while to achieve that. A pseudo-royal lord could barely be considered an existence on par with a royal lord, but because they were made using a Black Ink Clan source fusion technique and were not true royal lords, it was difficult for them to display the full might of a royal lord. With an existence like the Chaos Spirit King chasing after him, it was naturally not wise to fight with a pseudo-royal lord. On the other hand, Yang Kai could easily eliminate his opponent after weakening the pseudo-royal lord by using the Chaos Spirit King, then circling back to eliminate him. This was an example of lifting a heavy weight using borrowed strength. The chaser had unknowingly become Yang Kai's accomplice, and if Yang Kai got the chance to kill a pseudo-royal lord without any effort, why should he not take it? Of course, it was only because the Chaos Spirit King's intelligence was not high enough that this was possible. If it was any other master with normal intelligence, Yang Kai's plan would not have worked at all. Just like before, the chase continued. Their chase flipped the universe furnace world upside down. Yang Kai didn't have a set direction. In any case, he was just leading the Chaos Spirit King on a wild chase around the universe furnace world. If he ran into someone from the Black Ink Clan, he would kill them right away, but if he encountered a human, he would take a detour and warn them in advance, lest they get caught up in this storm. Yang Kai might be slightly weaker than the Chaos Spirit King, but if he were to focus on escaping, the Chaos Spirit King would not be able to do anything to him. As luck would have it, the Chaos Spirit King's sentience wasn't very developed. It was certain that Yang Kai had snatched the supreme grade open heaven pill, so it kept chasing after him relentlessly. The number of Black Ink Clan survivors Yang Kai encountered started to decrease over time. Of course, it might have been because they had been killed, but the bigger reason was that the survivors had gone into hiding. Right now, things were extremely unfavorable for the Black Ink Clan in the Universe Furnace world. The human race had 4 Ninth Order Open Heaven Realm Masters who had split up to hunt down any Black Ink clansmen they could find. On the other hand, the only royal lord on the Black Ink clan's side was heavily injured and was nowhere to be found. So, how could the Black Ink clan still have the strength to resist the humans in this kind of situation? Naturally, they used all kinds of means to hide themselves, waiting for the universe furnace world to close. Although most of them knew that another bloody battle would break out when the universe furnace closed, they did not have much choice in the matter. As time passed, Yang Kai became slightly disappointed. There was no trace of Mo Na Yi, nor was there any trace of the other 3 supreme grade open heaven pills. The universe furnace world was quite vast. Perhaps there were some places he had yet to explore, or perhaps the 3 pills had already been refined, or perhaps they had fallen into the hands of some Black Ink clansman or human. Everything was possible. As for Mo Na Yi, if he was hell-bent on hiding, it wouldn't be easy to find him. Yang Kai was in no rush though. He could end Mo Na Yi once the universe furnace closed. During this trip to the universe furnace, the human race had not only dealt the Black Ink clan a severe blow, they had also gained 4 new Ninth Order Open Heaven Realm Masters. Yang Kai also got his hand on another supreme grade open heaven pill which he could bring back and give to Mi Jinglun. In short, this trip was worth it. At some point, the Grand Tao within this world suddenly started undulating before the last remnants of the chaos rapidly disappeared. The 9th Grand Tao evolution was finally taking place. After this evolution, the universe furnace would soon close. As for the Chaos Spirit King who had been chasing after Yang Kai all this while, it seemed to have also noticed this and became even more agitated, pushing its speed even higher. Be that as it may, it had never been able to close the distance between them from the moment it had started chasing Yang Kai. No matter how hard it tried, it was useless. "Second brother, take the helm," Yang Kai suddenly shouted. Inside the soul-warming lotus, the corner of Fang Tianxi's mouth twitched. What does Big Brother think of his body? But after giving it another thought, he realized that it was quite appropriate to address his physical body as a ship on which the 3 brothers were riding. Without further thought, Fang Tianxi immediately took control of the body. However, he didn't have full control over it, mainly because Yang Kai was still occupying the majority of his physical body, so he was unable to control it too smoothly. It wasn't that Yang Kai was on guard against him, but rather that he needed to focus on something else. Fang Tianxi only needed to control the body to escape the Chaos Spirit King's pursuit, which didn't require much fine control. The handover between them was extremely smooth. From an outsider's point of view, it was impossible to spot any change in Yang Kai. He was still fleeing, and the Chaos Spirit King chasing after him was completely helpless. But at this moment, Yang Kai was completely focused on sensing the changes in the surroundings. When the universe furnace world underwent its 9th Grand Tao evolution, the Grand Taos in this world started undulating as the chaos completely evolved into 10,000 Grand Taos. After the 9th evolution, the universe furnace world would finally reach perfection. At this moment, Yang Kai also summoned his own space-time river and urged his Tao strengths, churning them and studying the endless mysteries that appeared. Inside the small space-time river, all Tao strengths converged, and under Yang Kai's control, various Tao strengths constantly blended and fused, devouring and evolving before finally transforming into 5 elements Tao strengths. The 5 elements Tao strengths mutually restrained and supported each other, rapidly transforming into yin and yang. As yin and yang circled around each other, time and space became twisted and ultimately evolved into chaos. All Tao strengths converged into one, and ultimately became chaos. This was a mysterious process Yang Kai had comprehended from the infinite river, and at this moment, he had thoroughly confirmed this point using his own Tao strength's evolution. At this moment, the space-time river circling around him was no longer the space-time river, but a chaos river. The moment this chaos river completely stabilized, a sudden change occurred. As if a drop of water had been poured into a sizzling oil, the Tao strengths of the entire universe furnace world began to violently undulate, and the infinite river that ran through the world also began to violently surge, sending waves as high as the sky everywhere, sweeping across everything. Marshall Peak. Marshall Peak, Chapter 5804, Branch, Marshall Peak, While the Grand Tao of the Universe Furnace world started evolving for the ninth and final time, whether it was the humans who were searching for the traces of the Black Ink Clan or the Black Ink Clan who were hiding themselves, everyone had already gotten used to it. After all, this kind of thing had already happened 8 times before. Besides the first time when there was some surprise and confusion, everyone completely disregarded it from the second time on. This was the profound mystery of the Universe Furnace. There was no need to pay too much attention to it. Except, this ninth evolution appeared to be different from any of the previous ones. Under the surging Grand Taos, the entire Universe Furnace world was shaking. At this moment, it was as if something was changing, but no one could see it clearly, nor could they explain it. The infinite river that ran through the entire Universe Furnace world, from shallow to deep, contained the mysteries of chaos evolving into 10,000 Grand Taos. Every evolution of the Grand Taos was also a manifestation of the mysteries of chaos giving birth to 10,000 Grand Taos. The Universe Furnace seemed to be demonstrating the truth of the Grand Tao to all living beings, the essence of the world itself. When the last Grand Tao evolution occurred, Yang Kai used his own spacetime river as a foundation and prompted the 10,000 Grand Taos to revert to chaos. By doing just the opposite, it was no different from erecting a different flag amid this surging tide. Vaguely, he seemed to have touched something. At this moment, Yang Kai felt an inexplicable pressure on him from all directions, causing the spacetime river around him to violently shake, almost collapsing it. If one followed the heavens, they would achieve twice the results with half the effort, but if one defied the heavens, the opposite would happen. What Yang Kai was currently doing was tantamount to opposing the natural order of the Universe Furnace world. When the last Grand Tao's evolution was taking place, any act of rebellion would naturally be suppressed by this world. The speed at which he was fleeing suddenly slowed down, but the Chaos Spirit King chasing after him didn't appear to be affected by it at all. It was quickly closing the distance between them. Fang Tianci, who had taken control of a portion of Yang Kai's body, and was running for his life, was greatly alarmed. He might not have any idea about the exact cause behind this sudden change, but he knew that it had something to do with his main body. Gritting his teeth, he quickly prompted space principles and executed instantaneous movement, but he didn't teleport too far. Meanwhile, Yang Kai was completely focused on maintaining his own spacetime river. The exploration of the infinite river had allowed him to glimpse at some things, but he was unable to thoroughly understand them. If he wanted to verify his theory, he could only rely on this method. He had been meaning to do this for a long time, but the Chaos Spirit King that was chasing him right now had become a potential threat. There was nothing he could do about it either. When he snatched back the Supreme Grade Open Heaven Pill, it was destined that he would not be able to shake off this Chaos Spirit King, otherwise, others would definitely suffer because of him. The long river around Yang Kai kept shaking. It appeared to be on the verge of collapse, but Yang Kai continued to persevere, and soon, a look of joy overtook his face. Because the Grand Tao evolution, which should have started and ended in a flash, had not disappeared, and was instead showing signs of intensifying. This was undeniable proof that his actions had some effect. Although he was going against the entire world with his might alone, as the saying went, even a single rat dropping could ruin a pot of porridge. The current Yang Kai was that dropping that had fallen into this Universe Furnace world. The Grand Taos undulated even more fiercely, shaking the Universe Furnace world non-stop. Whether it was the human race or the Black Ink Clan, all of them were shocked and confused, not knowing what was happening. At this moment, Fang Tianxi's voice rang out, "Big brother, I can't hold on much longer." From the start, he had only been in control of a small portion of Yang Kai's body, and Yang Kai's actions made his job even more difficult. Even if he used a space secret technique, he was unable to teleport far. Meanwhile, the Chaos Spirit King kept relentlessly chasing after them, closing the distance to a dangerous degree. In a moment, he might fall into the range of the Chaos Spirit King's attacks. If that really happened, Yang Kai would not be able to do anything. He might even possibly put himself in danger. Fang Tianci shouted his plea, but Yang Kai did not give any answer. It remained unknown whether he heard him or not. Yang Kai also felt like he couldn't hold on any longer. In the Universe Furnace world right now, when chaos was giving birth to 10,000 Grand Taos, filling every step of this place, he could only rely on his own strength to go against it. So, he was really under intense pressure. He didn't even know if his actions were meaningful or not, but he had indeed caught a glimpse of some things in the infinite river. If he didn't verify his speculations now, he might never have another chance in his life. He didn't want to miss this rare opportunity, so he had no choice but to persevere. Fortunately, his divine dragon body had become stronger than ever after he had broken through to the 9th order. Had he still been in the 8th order, it would have been difficult for him to hold even this long. At this point, every single breath felt like millions of years. Suddenly, a fearsome attack came flying at him from behind. Apparently, the Chaos Spirit King had already reached the range it could begin attacking him. It was also at this moment that Yang Kai, who was fully focused on circulating his strength, suddenly saw a massive, winding river. Naturally, this was the legendary infinite river that ran through the entire universe furnace world. As a matter of fact, although this river ran through the entire universe furnace world, it wasn't everywhere. Yang Kai was still quite a distance away from the infinite river. However, he noticed that the space inside the universe furnace world had become unstable at this moment. He wasn't the only one who noticed this. At this moment, all the surviving humans and Black Ink clansmen saw this enormous river appear, flowing from an unknown source towards the end of this world. The great river happened to be shaking, and beside it, tributaries that had never been seen before and had never been detected by any living being rapidly appeared one after another. If the massive river was a giant tree, then these tributaries that had suddenly appeared were branches. It was difficult to calculate how many branches there were, as there were too many to count. These tributaries flowed continuously and quickly filled the entire universe furnace world like a spider web. In these tributaries, what flowed was the 10,000 grand Taos after they had evolved. This was a remarkable sight to behold. All the humans and Black Ink clansmen stared at this sudden sight in a daze. Some of them even reached out to touch a tributary close at hand, but their hands went right through it as if they were touching something illusory. There was no resistance at all. The universe furnace world had undergone momentous change, but no one knew the cause behind it. At this moment, Yang Kai, the architect behind this chaos, was coughing up blood. The Chaos Spirit King's attack was extremely powerful and even he was unable to withstand it. However, no anger could be seen in his eyes, rather they were shining brightly. The moment these tributaries appeared, he knew that his previous speculations were correct. The universe furnace truly existed and was hidden somewhere in this world. Its profoundness lay in its ability to derive all the grand Taos from chaos. Whether it was the 9 grand Tao evolutions, or the existence of the infinite river, they were the undeniable proof. Finding the true body of the universe furnace, on the other hand, was a whole other problem. Since ancient times, every appearance of the universe furnace drove generations of great experts to enter it. Did they not think of searching for the real body of the universe furnace? Of course, they did. But no one had ever found it. Yang Kai also was not sure if he could find it, but all he could do was give it a try. If he found it, it would naturally be a reason to rejoice, but if he couldn't find it, he wouldn't suffer any losses either. The only problem hindering him was the Chaos Spirit King that was chasing after him. It was a nuisance. Fortunately, now that his strength had dramatically increased, it wasn't that troublesome. Now the only issue before Yang Kai was how to go about his search. Since he had managed to glimpse the mystery of how the universe furnace derived all the grand Taos from chaos, he figured he should do the opposite to create a kind of interference that would hopefully reveal some clues he could trace. With this plan in his mind, Yang Kai let himself loose. No one had ever done such a thing before, or even mastered so many grand Taos like him. As the saying went, when in doubt, it's better to take a step back. Who knows, you might see the situation clearly. Going against the tide of the entire universe furnace world was equal to going against the heaven's will, but it also allowed one to see more clearly. When the tributaries appeared, the space-time river around Yang Kai's body started shaking. To others, the enormous infinite river might seem like an illusory river, but it looked completely different to Yang Kai, who was surrounded by his own space-time river. Flowing in these tributaries were the 10,000 grand Taos that were born from chaos. whereas his current spacetime river was the amalgamation of 10,000 grand DAOs returning to chaos. The two were completely opposite to each other. If these tributaries were like closed doors, then the spacetime river was the key to opening them. The next moment, the spacetime river surged before it carried Yang Kai into the nearest tributary. Right then, another fearsome attack shot towards Yang Kai. The Chaos Spirit King had already caught up to him, and naturally, when it saw Yang Kai rush into the tributary, it refused to give up. However, no matter what it did, it was unable to harm Yang Kai in the slightest, and it couldn't even enter the tributary either. All it could do was helplessly watch Yang Kai rapidly drift away following the tributary's flow. The Chaos Spirit King chased after him for a while longer before finally losing sight of Yang Kai. Boundless anger surged within it as it let out a long roar, unable to contain its rage. Inside the tributary, Yang Kai, who was protected by the spacetime river, seemed to have transformed into an undercurrent, drifting along the flow, surrounded by extremely rich Dao strengths. However, Yang Kai wasn't in the mood to refine and absorb them at this moment, mainly because he had obtained ample benefits from the infinite river. Refining and absorbing them now wouldn't have much effect. Furthermore, he even had a large amount of Dao strength sealed in his small universe, ready to be refined by him or others. He had no idea where he was going, but if his guess was right, then the end or source of the tributary should be the location of the universe furnace. Also, it was completely unrealistic to go against the current as the resistance was too high. He had no choice but to follow the flow. Just as Yang Kai entered the tributary, the universe furnace world suddenly underwent a great change, folding the various spaces and stacking them upon each other. The humans who went searching for traces of the Black Ink Clan, and the Black Ink Clan who were hiding in the shadows, no matter who it was, all of them could feel that the surroundings had changed. After a short while, every surviving outsider felt as if they had entered an independent void. Even if they had companions nearby, they found it extremely hard to approach them. It was as if the opposite party was in a totally different space. The universe furnace is about to close. Somewhere in the void, Blood Crow immediately frowned and warned when the Six Paths formation he was part of collapsed for no reason. He had experienced this before, so after noticing the changes in his surroundings, he immediately understood what was about to happen. Marshall Peak. Marshall Peak, Chapter 5805, Projection reappears. Marshall Peak. Hearing Blood Crow's words, the veteran 8th Order Masters were puzzled. Didn't you say that we'll still have some time after the 9th evolution? Blood Crow shook his head. It was like that last time, but it's a little different this time. Perhaps it is different every time. He had participated in the appearance of the universe furnace only once, so how could he know if there was any kind of pattern? Judging by the current situation, the universe furnace would indeed be closing very soon. At that time, all the outsiders would be expelled from this independent world and returned to their respective entrance points. When that time came, another war would break out, and this time, the human race had already made preparations. They would definitely inflict heavy losses on the Black Ink Clan. After the last battle, once the group of 6 had finished recuperating, they started hunting around in a battle formation. During this time, they had some modest gains. Originally, they thought that there was still some time before the universe furnace closed, and that they would be able to make more progress, but at this moment, they decided not to ruminate too much on it. The 6 8th Order Masters came from the various entrances of the universe furnace, so once the universe furnace was closed, they would be forced to return to different places. Immediately, each of them cupped their fists and bid their farewells before settling down to adjust their breathing and recover their strength. Not only them, but all of the human race masters who were still active appeared to have noticed it. Everyone immediately stopped what they were doing and started getting ready for the imminent battle. In comparison, the Black Ink clansmen who were relatively well informed were a little uneasy and restless. Although they knew that this day would eventually come, when it really did, they discovered that they had not been prepared. The news they had received from the Black Ink disciples had left them deeply concerned. They didn't know what kind of terrible situation they would face after the universe furnace closed. In the end, they had to return to various great territory battlefields. After the universe furnace closed down, whether they lived or died would all depend on the outside battle situation between the Black Ink Clan army and the human race army. Moreover, many of the Black Ink clansmen were oblivious to this truth. While the undercurrents were surging, Yang Kai, protected by his spacetime river, followed along the flow of the infinite river tributary. He had no idea where he was going or whether his actions had any meaning, but now that things had reached this point, he had no choice but to follow through. This stream was filled with an extremely rich and pure Tao strength, so pure that it had condensed into a liquid form that was flowing in the tributary. Yang Kai couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Previously, his actions had given birth to a strange change in the universe furnace. Spiderweb-like tributaries had filled the entire universe furnace world in the blink of an eye. This scene had not gone unnoticed by him. The reason he was able to enter the tributary was because he had used his own comprehension of the evolution of Grand Daos, and used Dao strengths to stimulate the 10,000 Grand Daos to revert back to chaos. If the tributary was a locked door, then his method was the key to opening it. Even if others had seen these tributaries, they could forget about entering them without the corresponding means. Although Yang Kai had used this opportunity to escape the pursuit of the Chaos Spirit King, he had no idea what would transpire next. Left with no other options, all he could do was focus on sensing the changes in his surroundings with rapt attention. The flow of Dao strengths was extremely fast, but when it came to the tributary, its flow was billowing and the currents violent. Being in such a tributary, whether it was time or space, everything had become extremely chaotic. Although the surroundings were filled with extremely rich Dao strengths, one's vision was filled with impossible sights. Yang Kai instantly understood that the universe furnace was about to close. According to Bloodcrow, the universe furnace would close soon after the 9th evolution, but this period seems to be a lot shorter. Could it be because of me? At this moment, Yang Kai couldn't be bothered to think about these things. All he wanted to know was where he would eventually end up if he allowed himself to drift like this. Perhaps the end of this tributary would allow him to discover some unknown truth. Time and space became even more chaotic. Yang Kai found it difficult to even calculate how long he had been inside this stream. At some point, the space-time river around him seemed to have suffered a huge impact, instantly shaking it and destabilizing his body. The impact was so huge that it sent his world force and blood into turmoil. Yang Kai's face turned pale. For him to suffer such an impact with his current cultivation realm meant that it was comparable to an all-out attack from a royal lord. Sensing the source of the impact, Yang Kai instinctively reached out towards it. When he closed his fist, there was something in his hand. It was a very small object, but when he opened his fist and took a close look at it, a strange expression appeared on his face. Much to his surprise, it was a grain of sand. Moreover, he had seen this kind of grain of sand before. He had seen them at the bottom of Infinite River, countless of them at that, which had gathered at the riverbed. These grains of sand were not some simple sand particles, but rather some kind of embryonic universe world. However, because of the massive pressure and rich Dao strength in the Infinite River, these universe worlds were only in their nascent form and looked like sand in a riverbed. Surprisingly, such a thing had actually appeared in this tributary. The infinite river that ran through the entire universe furnace world was the main river, and all the tributaries were part of it. Now that the grain of sand that should have existed in the depths of the main river had appeared, didn't that mean that something inside the main river had been forced out? Realizing this, Yang Kai's expression changed slightly. The tributary he was in was probably not as safe as he had imagined. He clearly remembered that a large number of mystical celestial phenomena were forming inside the infinite river. These celestial phenomena may have looked small and unimposing inside the infinite river, but they were actually filled with all kinds of strange and dangerous anomalies. It was just a grain of sand that hit me this time, but what if it was a celestial phenomenon? Yang Kai's head immediately started spinning. Although he was in a crisis, he was still extremely excited. The fact that things had been pushed out of the main river and into the tributary meant that the Dao strength turbulence had swept through the entire universe furnace. Even the infinite river was unable to avoid it. He could not help but be excited about what astonishing discovery he would find at the end of this tributary. Realizing that the environment he was in was not that safe though, Yang Kai became more cautious as he meticulously scanned his surroundings, lest he get pulled into some strange celestial phenomenon. Fortunately, nothing of that sort happened, though quite a bit of sand was indeed flowing towards him along with the current. Yang Kai, who was already prepared for this, easily resolved the issue. While Yang Kai was moving along the tributary towards an unknown future, the universe furnace world closed down amidst violently shaking, the survivors disappearing under the great repulsive force one after another. Azure Sun territory was a frontline battlefield where the humans fought against the Black Ink clan. Countless from both sides had sacrificed their lives here over the past thousands of years. There was not a single corner in this place where the blood had not been spilled and someone had not lost their lives. But despite the numerous battles fought on this great territory battlefield over thousands of years, it was still orderly and controllable. However, a few decades ago, when the universe furnace suddenly appeared, a true war broke out. No battle of that scale and intensity had been fought for thousands of years. Countless Black Ink clansmen fought in that battle, including a few pseudo-royal lords. While on the human race's side, Ninth Order masters, who had long been in hiding, personally stepped forward to meet the enemy. Both sides suffered heavy casualties, but things had slowly stabilized after a large number of masters from both sides entered the universe furnace. More than half of the pseudo-royal lords had entered, but the human race's Ninth Order master had not. As such, how could the Black Ink clan be their opponents now? Over the next 20 years, the human race swept through the entire Azure Sun territory under Luo Tinghe's leadership, setting off a one-sided massacre of the Black Ink clan until they were completely helpless. At present, Azure Sun territory was basically under the human race's control. Although the Black Ink clan was still launching ambushes in some places, they were no longer a threat and would be wiped out sooner or later. These Black Ink clan forces also wanted to escape from Azure Sun territory, but the various territory gates had already been occupied by the humans, leaving them nowhere to run. Originally, the Black Ink clan believed that the humans would launch a massive counterattack after capturing Azure Sun territory, so massive Black Ink clan armies had already deployed across the nearby Great Territories, preparing for battle. But to the Black Ink clan's surprise, the human race army in Azure Sun territory did not continue the triumphant march. Even the Ninth Order master, Luo Tinghe, showed no intention of leaving Azure Sun territory. She simply stood guard there, her thoughts a mystery. Unable to guess the enemy's intentions, the Black Ink clan became a little ill at ease. Not only was Azure Sun territory like this, but most of the other great territory battlefields were in similar situations. In Wolf Fang territory, Wei Junyang, leading the human race army, basically purged the Black Ink clan before stopping. When the news reached the no-return pass, Mo Yu, who was overseeing the general situation, felt both uneasy and puzzled, wondering what these two Ninth Order human race masters were up to. At that moment he really missed Mo Na. Had Mo Na been here, he might have been able to see through the humans' actions. Unfortunately, Mo Na had entered the universe furnace world, and Mo Yu did not have any other useful subordinates under him. Except for the great territory battlefields that had the two Ninth Order masters, where the battle already settled, war was still raging on the rest of the great territory battlefields. Both the human race and Black Ink clan kept investing their troops there, and large and small battles would break out almost every few days. The Black Ink clan had suffered massive casualties, but the human race's casualties weren't small either. Among the many pieces of information relayed back to the no-return pass, there was one that Mo Yu was extremely concerned about. And that was that no matter which great territory battlefield it was, the human race seemed to care a great deal about the location where the universe furnace projection had appeared. Even if they had advantages in battle, they maintained a heavy deployment at the location of the projection space, strictly guarding it and preventing the Black Ink clan from approaching. What's so special about those locations? Why are they specifically guarding them? The human race's movements gave Mo Yu a bad feeling. If his hunch came to be true, then all the Black Ink clansmen who had entered the universe furnace might have a disastrous end waiting for them. Because of his hunch, he issued several orders to all the Black Ink clansmen deployed on the various great territory battlefields to pay close attention to the locations where these projections had appeared. When the universe furnace's 9th Grand Dao evolution was taking place and the universe furnace world started shaking, the very same scene that had occurred several decades ago reappeared. The space that was heavily guarded by the humans suddenly became distorted and chaotic before a massive illusory phantom of the universe furnace manifested. The projection of the universe furnace had appeared once more. Marshall Peak. Marshall Peak, Chapter 5806, Return, Marshall Peak. After a few decades, by the time the universe furnace's projection appeared once more, the human race masters on the dozen or so great territory battlefields were already finished making their preparations. Not to mention Azure Sun territory and Wolf Fang territory, which had practically been conquered, even the great territory battlefields where wars were still raging had humans basically completely controlling the specific areas. The news immediately reached the Supreme Headquarters, causing Mi Jinglun to frown. It's a little fast. According to the information provided by Bloodcrow, the last time the universe furnace manifested, it took over 100 years for it to close. Of course, the 100 years was the flow of time in the outside world. If one was really inside the universe furnace, they wouldn't feel that so much time had passed, because time and space seemed to be extremely wrapped and chaotic at the very beginning, making it difficult to determine how long they had spent inside. But it didn't matter. All the necessary arrangements had been made, and the rest would depend on how effective these arrangements were. Putting down those reports, Mi Jinglun picked up another set. The emergence of the universe furnace had triggered an all-out war between the human race and the Black Ink clan. The human race was not completely prepared yet, but neither was the Black Ink clan. Azure Sun territory and Wolf Fang territory, under the leadership of two Ninth Order masters, had basically been reclaimed. The Black Ink clansmen that were present there had either been killed or had fled long ago. The territory gates leading to two territories were now completely in human hands. All that was left were some finishing touches. Several other great territory battlefields were now dominated by the human race. Let alone other great territory battlefields, just Azure Sun territory and Wolf Fang territory allowed the human race to push forward, but Mi Jinglun did not give the order to do so. The Black Ink clan army terribly outnumbered the human race army still, and the same was true when it came to top masters. If they continued pushing on, they might not be able to achieve much while sacrificing a lot. Once the front line was stretched too far, it would be rather detrimental for the human race. If the human race wanted to reclaim the 3,000 worlds, they would have to take a steady approach. They would have to sweep through the great territories one by one and drive the Black Ink clan out of their homeland, where they had lived for millions of years. As such, Mi Jinglun was waiting for the universe furnace to close. Only by killing all the Black Ink clansmen that had entered the universe furnace would the human race be free from any attack in the rear. Otherwise, if the human race masters were sent to the front lines and the Black Ink clan were to stir up trouble in the rear, that would be quite troublesome. And at this moment, the time had come. What he needed to consider now was how the human race would proceed after reclaiming the current great territory battlefields. When the massive universe furnace phantom appeared, apart from Azure Sun territory and Wolf Fang territory, the Black Ink clan in the other great territory battlefields immediately took action. Mo Yu had already passed down an order a long time ago that if anything unusual transpired in those locations where the universe furnace's projection had once appeared, the Black Ink clan army should immediately engage. They should not hesitate to attack regardless of what the humans were planning. A huge battle instantly broke out, and this time it swept up all the occupied great territory battlefields. Not long after the projection of the universe furnace appeared, figures appeared inside the projection one after another. These figures were none other than members of the Black Ink clan who had entered the universe furnace. Most of them were still in a state of confusion as the majority of Black Ink clansmen did not know that when they left the universe furnace world, they would return to their original location. While they were still reeling from confusion, powerful attacks came raining down on them from all directions. The human race masters, who had long been prepared, immediately used their strongest divine abilities and secret techniques. Not only that, but the human race masters who had appeared together with the Black Ink clansmen from the universe furnace world also quickly assumed battle formations, resisting the aftershocks of the attacks from their own side, while searching for opportunities to kill the powerful enemies near them. One after another, fearsome auras flared up before vanishing. Within moments, the territory lords had suffered heavy casualties and even the pseudo-royal lords found it difficult to protect themselves from this barrage. In Azure Sun territory, Luo Ting his slender figure had already charged straight into the enemy lines, reaping their lives with unstoppable force. Any territory lord that was targeted by her was dead within 3 breaths. In Wolf Fang territory, Wei Junyang, dressed in golden armor and holding a long spear, went on a killing spree, leaving rivers of blood behind him. The territories where the 2 Ninth Order masters were stationed were basically seeing a one-sided slaughter. Only pseudo-royal lords managed to hold on, but that too was only for a short while. If things were favorable for the human race in some places, there would naturally be other places where they were losing ground. Profound Nether Territory Battlefield was a great territory battlefield that was once personally overseen by Yang Kai, the Killing Star, so the Black Ink clan had attached great importance to it. Things had been extremely tense for Profound Nether Territory Battlefield over the past few decades. If it weren't for the Divine Spirit's support, Profound Nether Army would have already been lost. Even with the Divine Spirit's assistance, however, it was still difficult for Profound Nether Army to secure another victory. The main reason was that the enemy had deployed a large number of pseudo-royal lords. Fortunately, after a series of large and small battles, the Profound Nether Army had managed to firmly control the area around the Universe Furnace projection. But when the Universe Furnace projection appeared once more, and the Black Ink clan army went on offense, the Profound Nether Army actually had a difficult time holding their ground. It wasn't that Profound Nether Army was weak. It was an army that had Yang Kai at its helm. In name, Yang Kai was still the army commander of Profound Nether Army. With a leader like him, the entire Profound Nether Army was second to none whether in terms of military strength or morale. The main reason the Profound Nether Army was losing ground was because they had deployed most of their masters to guard the location of the Universe Furnace's projection, thereby weakening their forces in the other areas, which the Black Ink clan took advantage of. When the war broke out, the Profound Nether Army, adhering to the principle of minimizing losses, fought while slowly retreating. When the report of this was sent back to the Black Ink clan, the Black Ink clan army's leader misunderstood his enemy as weak and vulnerable, which in turn ignited the Black Ink clan's momentum. While things were dragging on like this, several figures appeared in the Universe Furnace projection. Immediately after, just like the other great territory battlefields, the prepared human race masters fired their divine abilities and secret techniques at the Black Ink clansmen who had suddenly appeared. Right then, a fearsome aura suddenly appeared, shaking heaven and earth before a furious roar resounded throughout the entire Profound Nether territory. Oyu Yang Lai has come. Bastards of the Black Ink clan, come suffer death. A few decades ago, Oyu Yang Lai had entered the Universe Furnace through Profound Nether Territory's entrant. Ninth Order. In the rear of the Black Ink clan army, the pseudo-royal lord commander's face drastically changed as he started shaking. When he noticed that Oyu Yang Lai's aura had reached the Ninth Order, he knew that things were looking bleak for the Black Ink clan in Profound Nether Territory. While the Black Ink clansmen were in a state of panic, the human race were in high spirit. Before Yang Kai had taken charge of Profound Nether Army, Oyu Yang Lai was well known for his rampages in Profound Nether Territory, so he was quite famous here. At this moment, many old Eighth Order masters were both envious and gratified after hearing him announce his name and feeling the awe-inspiring might of his Ninth Order Open Heaven Realm cultivation. Oyu Yang Lai has advanced to the Ninth Order Open Heaven Realm. He must have obtained a supreme grade Open Heaven pill in the Universe Furnace. At this moment, the sudden appearance of a Ninth Order Open Heaven Realm master would definitely play a decisive role in the battle. Ever since Yang Kai started cultivating his human self and went into retreat, the Profound Nether Army had been lacking a central pillar to rally around. Fortunately, the war hadn't been too intense thanks to the peace treaty, so it didn't matter if Yang Kai was present or not. Now that Oyu Yang Lai had returned even stronger than before, his presence would undoubtedly breathe new life into the entire Profound Nether Army. Profound Nether Army's morale soared and their momentum rose to a whole new level as they swept through the Great Territory. On another Great Territory battlefield, a pseudo-royal lord shouted at the top of his lungs, "Xiong Shan has broken through to the Ninth Order Open Heaven Realm." Right across him stood Xiong Shan with a gaping wound on his body and blood all over, but he still had a stoic look on his face as he sent a punch towards the pseudo-royal lord who had been seriously injured by him, coldly snorting, "You talk too much." Just one punch sent the pseudo-royal lord into a fit of coughing blood. In just a few dozen breaths, The pseudo-royal lord's aura who was fighting Xiong Shan perished under his torrential attack. This was the first pseudo-royal lord that had fallen in this great territory, but it would definitely not be the last. Killing a pseudo-royal lord was entirely possible for Xiong Shan with his current strength, but to kill him so quickly was only possible because he caught his opponent off guard. This pseudo-royal lord was also quite unlucky. Just as he led the Black Ink clan army over, he spotted Xiong Shan who had just appeared. He happened to have fought with Xiong Shan many years ago, and very well knew just how powerful Xiong Shan was. But at that time, he was just an innate territory lord. Now that he was a pseudo-royal lord, he immediately had the urge to finish off Xiong Shan. Except, he was taken aback the moment they exchanged blows. He had indeed become a pseudo-royal lord, but Xiong Shan had advanced to the Ninth Order Master. Moreover, Xiong Shan, a Ninth Order Master, kept pressing the pseudo-royal lord and ruthlessly injured him at the cost of getting himself injured. The pseudo-royal lord was already caught off guard, and now that Xiong Shan was putting his life on the line, coupled with the gap between their strengths, how could the pseudo-royal lord be his opponent? Xiong Shan did not stop after killing this pseudo-royal lord and instead charged at the second pseudo-royal lord. The sight of Xiong Shan coming straight at him scared the hell out of the pseudo-royal lord. He immediately turned tail and fled, not caring if this action would affect the morale of his army. The sudden appearance of two Ninth Order Masters and their act of eliminating the strongest enemies right off the bat had stabilized the situation of the two great territories. It was quite foreseeable that these two great territories would come under the human race's complete control very soon, and the Black Ink clansmen present in these territories would either be killed or driven away. Aside from the great territories under these four Ninth Order Masters, neither side had any obvious advantages or disadvantages in others. Even if one side had a slight edge, it was not able to affect the overall situation. But as time passed, this situation quickly changed. With the universe furnace closed, the humans and Black Ink clansmen returned to the entrance they entered from, and when they did, the humans, who had obviously made preparations for this a long time ago, caught them off guard and attacked the returning members of the Black Ink clan. This led to the end of many territory lords and even some pseudo-royal lords. Additionally, the humans in every great territory saw the return of a large number of Eighth Order Masters. Many of these Eighth Order Masters had only been Seventh Order Masters when they had entered the universe furnace, but when they appeared today, they had advanced to the Eighth Order Open Heaven realm. It was all thanks to the ordinary grade Open Heaven pills, which were relatively easy to find inside the universe furnace compared to supreme grade Open Heaven pills. Thanks to these ordinary grade Open Heaven pills, nearly 90% of the Seventh Order Masters that entered and survived had advanced to the Eighth Order Open Heaven realm. As for those who failed to advance, it was because of their lacking foundation. Many territory lords fell in quick succession, while many Eighth Order Masters joined the human army's ranks. Owing to these conditions, the scales of victory and defeat were slowly tilting in the human race's favor. Marshall Peak. Marshall Peak, Chapter 5807, outside the Great Barrier, Marshall Peak, wars broke out on all the great territory battlefields and raged like a wildfire. Elsewhere, a large number of Black Ink clansmen returned to the barren territory. As it had always been under the Black Ink clan's complete control, the humans couldn't intervene. As such, there were no ambushes here. But compared to the number of members who had entered the universe furnace through the barren territory, the number of Black Ink clansmen who had returned was undoubtedly quite low. A huge army of millions of Black Ink clansmen had entered the universe furnace from the barren territory back then, with many territory lords and pseudo-royal lords among them. But now less than 1 million had managed to return, that was all. It was a catastrophic loss. The main reason was that after the great battle in the universe furnace, the human race had searched every nook and cranny for them, killing any Black Ink clansmen they came across. Those who were lucky enough to survive had been hiding all this while until today. Outside the no-return pass, figures similarly appeared one after another at a certain location in the void. One of them was none other than Mo Na Yi, whom Yang Kai had failed to find. He had fled right after the battle, and no one knew where he had gone or where he was hiding. The moment he appeared, he instantly surged his Black Ink strength and activated some secret technique, transforming into a Black Ink cloud and quickly escaping. Some territory lords called him out from behind, but he paid no heed to their calls. After running for a while, he felt a little puzzled, wondering where Yang Kai was. He didn't spot him anywhere. According to Xiao Yu's report, when the universe furnace closed, all outsiders who entered it would return to their original positions. In other words, they would return to the very same spot from where they had entered the universe furnace. Although he had been hiding well these past few days and hadn't exposed his whereabouts, Mo Yi had been constantly preparing and was always on guard because Yang Kai had entered the universe furnace from the same location as him. In other words, once it was closed, whether he wanted to or not, he would definitely meet Yang Kai again. Yang Kai had already reached the 9th order and his strength was no longer the same. Although Mo Yi had also become a royal lord, he had suffered serious injuries in their last battle and only managed to survive thanks to luck. It was extremely difficult for him to recover in the universe furnace world, and once he met Yang Kai, it would not end well for him. As such, he fled the moment he emerged from the universe furnace, fearing that he would fall into Yang Kai's hands. However, Yang Kai was nowhere to be seen at this moment. Instead, some territory lords had appeared. Mo Yi was unable to figure out what was going on, but he couldn't bother to waste too much time pondering about it. He just kept fleeing in the direction of the no-return pass. Only by escaping to the no-return pass and obtaining the support of Royal Lord Mo could he have a chance to survive. He did not know why Yang Kai wasn't here, but he was thankful all the same. Meanwhile, another war had broken out outside the primordial heavens source grand restriction. Thousands of suppressing Black Ink army soldiers stood on the suppressing Black Ink fortress, fending off the Black Ink clan's attacks again and again, using the power of their artifacts and the defenses of the suppressing Black Ink fortress. Be that as it may, some Black Ink clansmen would get close enough to cause some chaos from time to time. Fortunately, Divine Dragon Fu Guang was still here. He was even stronger than an ordinary 9th Order master, and thanks to him personally overseeing things, plus the powerful support of the suppressing Black Ink army, the Black Ink clan in the primordial heavens source grand restriction was having a hard time breaking through their defenses. However, according to Wu Kuang's report, the primordial heavens source grand restriction had become a little unstable. After all, this was a grand restriction that Kang and the other martial ancestors had deployed millions of years ago. Even with Wu Kuang personally presiding over it now, it was still difficult for him to reproduce its peak strength. Especially after the primordial heavens source grand restriction had been opened twice, which had a significant strain on its integrity. This allowed the Black Ink clan to easily find weak points in the grand restriction and continue to break it down. What particularly worried Wu Kuang was that he could faintly feel undulations of Mo's aura. During the last crusade, when the Black Ink clan army and the human race army waged war just outside the primordial heavens source grand restriction, Kang had fallen after using Mu's final trump card to force Mo into a deep sleep. This was the primary reason the primordial heavens source grand restriction could be maintained until now. The grand restriction was more than capable of sealing ordinary Black Ink clansmen in, and could even stop royal lords with ease, but it was definitely not capable of sealing Mo in its current condition. The day it was fully awake would be the day the primordial heavens source grand restriction collapsed. Wu Kuang had been monitoring Mo's movements for thousands of years, and he had not noticed anything unusual all this time. But recently, Mo's still and tranquil aura had begun fluctuating, which was undoubtedly a bad sign. The human race was able to deal with the invasion of the Black Ink clan army, they were able to deal with royal lords as well, but right now they had no means to restrain an ancient existence like Mo. When the universe furnace's projection appeared once again, it triggered a battle outside the primordial heavens source grand restriction. Two royal lords forced their way out of the gap Wu Kuang had opened all those years ago, not hesitating to endure the pressure of the grand restriction. Seeing this, Fu Guang promptly charged straight towards them, fighting 1 against 2, with him not faltering in the slightest. But with Fu Guang pinned down by 2 royal lords, innate territory lords took advantage of the situation and besieged the suppressing Black Ink army. In a flash, the battle became extremely intense. Seemingly because Mo was showing signs of awakening, the Black Ink clan in the primordial heavens source grand restriction became even more active. Over the past few years, their attacks had become more and more frequent, so the suppressing Black Ink army had no choice but to constantly fight. This high-intensity and prolonged battle had left all extremely exhausted, but none of them had the time to rest. While everyone was locked in a heated battle, a number of powerful figures appeared from the projection of the universe furnace one after another. Back when the universe furnace had appeared, the suppressing Black Ink army had sent 58th Order Masters inside, but only less than 40 managed to return. Clearly, the battles inside the universe furnace were no less dangerous than the battles outside. The Black Ink clan had suffered tremendous casualties, but so had the human race. The 8th Order Masters of the suppressing Black Ink army had lost more than 20% of their original number. The return of nearly 48th Order Masters undoubtedly made the suppressing Black Ink army breathe a sigh of relief though, and when they sensed that one aura among these returnees was extremely powerful, it further boosted their morale. Someone had broken through to the 9th Order. Soon, someone confirmed who had broken through to the 9th Order Open Heaven realm. It's Shuer. Shuer has advanced to the 9th Order. Shan Qing Luo's pleasantly surprised cry rang from a warship cruising through the battlefield, waiting for an opportunity to kill more enemies. Yu Meng, Su Yang, and the others, who were standing beside her, were both surprised and gratified. In fact, back when the suppressing Black Ink army had arranged for 8th Order Masters to enter the universe furnace to search for opportunities, Fu Guang basically tried to arrange for all of them to enter. Naturally, this was because of Yang Kai, and Fu Guang had his own considerations as well. Nonetheless, the wives came to a unanimous decision to give this opportunity to Yang Shuer. Although they were women, they had killed a fair share of powerful enemies in their lives. Even if their husband had made great contributions to the human race, they weren't willing to take advantage of his reputation. Everyone yearned for a chance to grab the opportunities presented by the universe furnace, so if all of them were to enter, they would easily become the target of criticism. If just Yang Shuer was to enter, it would not be an issue, but considering Yang Shuer's safety, Yang Xiao was also allowed to enter. Otherwise, Yang Xiao, as a member of the Dragon Clan, would never have had the chance to enter the universe furnace. Now that Yang Shuer had reached the 9th Order Open Heaven realm, she had lived up to everyone's expectations and efforts. Our dear husband has only one sister, so we should dote on her. I wonder if he knows that Shuer has advanced to the 9th Order. If he comes to know, it will definitely make him very happy. Just as they were thinking this, a voice drifted into their ears. It was none other than Yang Shuer. Big brother has broken through to the 9th Order in the universe furnace. Sister-in-laws, there is no need to worry. The women were stunned for a moment before a beautiful smile bloomed on their faces. He always manages to achieve miracles, Su Yang smiled, not too surprised. Everyone thought that the peak of the 8th Order Open Heaven realm was Yang Kai's limit, even the Black Ink clan. However, as people who had shared their lives with Yang Kai for so many years, these women always believed that he would not resign himself to his fate and would definitely try to break through to the 9th Order. And now, he had done it. Because it was him. The warship continued to shuttle back and forth as the women aboard it seamlessly cooperated with each other, releasing their secret techniques and divine abilities one after another, forcefully paving a path filled with fire and blood on the battlefield. The sudden appearance of a 9th Order Master had instantly turned the situation around. Black Ink clansmen were being slaughtered at an incredible rate, and by the time the two royal lords who were fighting Fu Guang noticed that the things were not in their favor and wanted to flee back to the primordial heaven's source grand restriction, it was already too late. Yang Shuer, holding her sword, stood before the gap, blocking it. She hesitated for a moment before allowing the first royal lord to rush back into the primordial heaven's source grand restriction and then joining forces with Fu Guang to attack the second. After an intense battle, the royal lord fell. Many royal lords had pushed their way out of the primordial heaven's source grand restriction over the years, but under Fu Guang's personal supervision, they were rarely able to do anything. Vice versa, it was now very difficult for Fu Guang to kill a royal lord. Most of the time, these royal lords would flee back to the primordial heaven's source grand restriction at first notice of things not in their favor, and Fu Guang was simply powerless to do anything, despite his fearsome strength. But this time, with the addition of Yang Shuer, a 9th Order Open Heaven Realm Master, and thanks to her act of letting one royal lord escape, the remaining royal lord lost any chance of surviving. Finally, they managed to win after a hearty and delightful battle, but the suppressing Black Ink army did not rejoice. Instead, they silently regulated their breathing and started preparing for the next battle. At the same time, Fu Guang and Yang Shui also received a piece of bad news. This news came straight from Wu Kuang, who was presiding over the primordial heavens source grand restriction. As the reincarnation of Shi and a Ninth Order master himself, Wu Kuang was now able to control the primordial heavens source grand restriction to a great extent. All these years, the Black Ink clan kept coming out of it, partly because of the Black Ink clan's efforts and partly because Wu Kuang was intentionally controlling it, relieving the pressure inside the primordial heavens source grand restriction. After all, he wasn't the true Shi, and the primordial heavens source grand restriction had been in a state of disrepair for many years. Its internal pressure was too high. If he didn't find a way to relieve it, he wouldn't be able to control it in his current state. Every time the Black Ink clan came out, there would only be 1 or 2 royal lords, which was thanks to Wu Kuang's careful control. Had he not been regulating the grand restriction, the number of royal lords that would manage to come out would have been far greater. The suppressing Black Ink army only had so many people, so even with the help of a powerful weapon like the suppressing Black Ink fortress, they would not be able to deal with so many Black Ink clansmen. Once the number of Black Ink clansmen exceeded the limit of what the suppressing Black Ink army could endure, they would surely be destroyed. And now, even though Wu Kuang's strength was increasing by the day, he was slowly losing control over the primordial heavens source grand restriction. The next time the Black Ink clan tried to break out of the primordial heavens source grand restriction, they would be accompanied by a few royal lords. He could not say for sure whether it be 2 or 3, or even more. All he could do was do his best and ask Fu Guang and Yang Shui to make preparations. Martial Peak. Martial Peak, Chapter 5808, Edge of the Universe. Martial Peak, pure Dao strength coursed through Yang Kai's body, leaving him disoriented. Helpless, he had no choice but to follow the flow. According to his speculations, the source or end of the river was bound to have some grand secrets. Going against the current was too difficult, even for Yang Kai, who had already reached the Ninth Order, so he could only go along with it. It was a strange feeling, as if he was really in a real river, flowing into the distant unknown, sometimes calm and sometimes surging. After an unknown period, Yang Kai felt the flow around him become faster, like a river flowing down a slope. Moreover, the size of the tributary suddenly increased and the Dao strength around him became even denser. He immediately understood that the tributary he was in had merged with the other tributaries. After a while, it merged with a few more tributaries, and the flow of the river became even faster. As he continued to merge with the other tributaries, the tributary became bigger and stronger, forcing Yang Kai to use his spacetime river to protect himself from external forces. At one point, Yang Kai was hit with a sense of weightlessness, as if he was falling from a waterfall. Fierce water was swirling around him, and no matter how hard he tried, he could not maintain his balance. Amid the intense Dao strength fluctuations, Yang Kai found it difficult to even maintain the spacetime river around him. Then, at some point, he felt like he was spewed out from somewhere. This kind of feeling was quite odd. By the time he somehow managed to stabilize himself, the tributary was nowhere to be seen. Without any external forces acting on him, Yang Kai stood quietly in place, furrowing his brow. Is this the end of the tributary? Where am I? He turned his head and started looking around, but the next moment, he froze and gawked in a daze. In his sight was a massive furnace, rapidly disappearing into the distance. This furnace was simple and unadorned, and covered in complex patterns. An incredibly ancient aura was radiating from it. The universe furnace. Suddenly, Thunder Shadow's voice rang in his mind, seemingly shocked by this sight. Yang Kai's recent actions had left him somewhat confused, but now he finally understood that Yang Kai's purpose was to explore the mysteries of the universe furnace. And now, the greatest mysteries of this world had truly appeared before his eyes. The massive furnace flying through the void before them was no different from the one that had been projected onto the various great territory battlefields. If it wasn't a universe furnace, what was it? The only difference was that the projection was illusory, while the one in front of them was real and tangible. Yang Kai was awoken from his daze by Thunder Shadow's cry of surprise, and just when he was about to chase after the furnace, dazzling colorful rays spewed out from the furnace's mouth. As soon as these colorful rays appeared, they scattered in all directions. Many sand-like particles suddenly expanded, transforming into the embryonic form of universe worlds. A strange celestial phenomenon suddenly expanded and occupied a vast space as rich and pure grand Taos surged out of the universe furnace, filling this stretch of the void that was originally filled with chaos. Right then, a grain of sand came flying straight at Yang Kai. Without the pressure from the universe furnace, this grain of sand finally revealed its true form. As the distance between Yang Kai and the grain of sand shortened, it quickly transformed into the embryonic form of a universe world that was no smaller than the star boundary. Yang Kai hurriedly used instantaneous movement to dodge. When he was exploring the depths of the infinite river, Yang Kai had seen these grains of sand and knew that they were not ordinary. Now that they had left the universe furnace, they had finally revealed their true appearance. As they were just the embryonic forms of the universe world, they were barren and devoid of vitality, but as long as the conditions were right, they would gradually become complete and give rise to living creatures in the future. The universe furnace was still rapidly advancing as more colorful rays continuously shot out of its mouth. Yang Kai finally understood how he happened to have arrived at this place. Apparently, he was spat out by the universe furnace after he entered the tributary and followed it back to its source. The flow of the tributary was only because the universe furnace was erupting. This was not the 3,000 worlds, nor was it Black Ink Battlefield, but a place he had never set foot in before. Having lived and cultivated for so many years, Yang Kai could be considered an experienced and knowledgeable man, but what he was seeing right now was far beyond anything he had ever imagined. After having calmed himself down, Yang Kai continued chasing after the universe furnace, occasionally avoiding the suddenly expanding celestial bodies and celestial phenomena that came flying at him. Since he reached the outer universe, Yang Kai had always had a nagging doubt in his mind. How did the great territories, universe worlds, and strange yet magnificent celestial phenomena come to be? Rumor had it that when chaos was first split into heaven and earth, it gave birth to many great territories and universe worlds, but who or what could have possessed such great power to accomplish such a feat? Even if the world itself evolved, it should still have a source. The exploration of the infinite river had allowed Yang Kai to witness the sand grain-like embryonic forms of the universe worlds, as well as the exquisite celestial phenomena in their nascent state. Although he had gained some insights, they were vague and incomplete. But at this moment, everything became clear. The source of everything was here, the universe furnace. The 3,000 worlds, the universe worlds, and even the remnants of the celestial phenomena on the Black Ink Battlefield, they all originated from the universe furnace, brought about by its eruptions since the dawn of existence. What he was seeing right now was the true process of how heaven and earth split apart. It was an awe-inspiring sight. In his mind, Fang Tianci and Thunder Shadow were also staring fixedly at this scene. Even the usually noisy Thunder Shadow had stopped talking. It was a scene that no ordinary person would ever see in their lifetime. Perhaps, since ancient times, no one at all had ever witnessed this. What Yang Kai was currently feeling was hard to describe. He wasn't excited about being able to see the true nature of this world, but rather, he was at a loss. The Chaos Spirit King, Thunder Shadow's shout suddenly rang in his mind. Yang Kai immediately activated Thunder Shadow's innate divine ability to conceal his figure and aura. The next moment, a fearsome aura emerged all of a sudden, gushing out along with dense Tao strengths. Surprisingly, it was a Chaos Spirit King. And it was not just a Chaos Spirit King, many other Chaos Spirit Clan members also came gushing out of the universe furnace, arriving at this void. Yang Kai had thought it was the Chaos Spirit King who had a grudge with him, but when he took a closer look, he found that it was not the case. Whether it was the appearance or figure of this Chaos Spirit King, Yang Kai had never seen it before. Its aura was still not as firm and stable as the previous one, and its physique even bore some resemblance to the Black Ink clan. This should be a newly born Chaos Spirit King, Fang Tianci stated. For this opening of the universe furnace, 3 supreme-grade open heaven pills were still unaccounted for. There was a high chance they had fallen into the hands of the Chaos Spirit clan, so it wasn't surprising for a new Chaos Spirit King to be born. This should be the newly born Chaos Spirit King. Seeing this Chaos Spirit King appear here, Yonkai roughly understood how it had been spat out. The other party seemed to be a little unaccustomed to the outside world, but after a brief pause, it quickly flew off into the distance and soon disappeared from Yonkai's sight. A large number of Chaos Spirit Clan members followed after it. Meanwhile, Yonkai continued chasing after the universe furnace while concealing himself. More and more embryonic universe worlds and celestial phenomena appeared, with occasional Chaos Spirit Clansmen and Chaos Spirit Kings among them. Yonkai even saw the one who had a grudge against him, but thanks to Thunder Shadow's innate divine ability, the other party didn't notice him. Like the first Chaos Spirit King, this Chaos Spirit King also quickly fled in a seemingly random certain direction and soon disappeared. So that's how it is, Thunder Shadow's voice rang out in his mind. No wonder we didn't see many Chaos Spirit Kings inside the universe furnace. It seems our previous speculations were wrong. It's not that the supreme grade open heaven pills can't create Chaos Spirit Kings rapidly, but that most of these Chaos Spirit Kings were spat out and not in the universe furnace. That should be the case, Fang Tianci also agreed with him. Previously, when they were discussing the number of Chaos Spirit Kings inside the universe furnace with Yonkai, they had some doubts. Logically speaking, since the universe furnace had opened so many times, there should have been many Chaos Spirit Kings inside, dozens of them at least. But from beginning to end, they had only seen one Chaos Spirit King. At the time, Yonkai had speculated that the supreme grade open heaven pills might not be completely effective for the Chaos Spirit Clan and could not create Chaos Spirit Kings right away, only slightly stronger Chaos Spirit Clan members. But by the looks of it, his speculation was incorrect. A supreme grade open heaven pill had a high chance of producing a Chaos Spirit King. It just turned out that when the universe furnace closed, sand grain-like universe worlds, as well as the celestial phenomena and even Chaos Spirit Clansmen were spewed out by it. This was equivalent to a purge. The one who had formed a grudge with Yonkai was probably one of the survivors from the last Great Purge. While chasing the universe furnace, Yonkai kept an eye on everything happening along the way. Wherever the universe furnace passed, the universe seemed to be reborn, though everything was primitive and desolate. Perhaps after countless years, this stretch of the universe would be filled with vitality, but right now, it was destined to be filled with nothing but death and silence. After an unknown period of time, the universe furnace's eruption gradually weakened, as if it was nearly finished spewing out everything inside. Finally, nothing gushed out of the universe furnace. Chaos. Yonkai suddenly whispered. What? Thunder Shadow asked. Chaos. Yonkai repeated. The edge of the universe is chaos. As a matter of fact, Yonkai had already noticed it when he was first spewed out of the universe furnace. It was filled with nothing but chaos, just like when he had first entered the universe furnace. There was no order inside the chaos, everything was extremely chaotic. However, after the grand Daos inside the universe furnace had evolved 9 times, the chaos had evolved into order. And after everything inside the universe furnace had been expelled into this void filled with chaos, it had washed away the disorder. Especially the rich and pure 10,000 grand Daos, which seemed to neutralize the chaos. But no matter what, it was still a place filled with chaos. Marshall Peak. Marshall Peak, Chapter 5809, The Cycle of Devouring and Expelling. Marshall Peak. Before the Black Ink Clan's invasion, the 3,000 worlds were flourishing and each great territory had its own unique style. The great territories were connected by territory gates, forming an extremely complicated yet interconnected great world. The human race had lived in such a great world for countless years, ultimately dominating it. However, there was also a black ink battlefield outside this great world, which was originally the frontline battlefield against the Black Ink Clan, consisting of various great passes made by the human race's ancestors. The Black Ink battlefield was vast and boundless. The deepest region that the human race had reached now was the location of the primordial heavens source grand restriction. Yonkai might have gone a bit farther when he was chased by the royal lord and fled deeper into the void, eventually hiding inside the great sea celestial phenomenon. But what was behind the primordial heavens source grand restriction? What was further behind the celestial phenomena see? Where was the end of the universe? Yang Kai had thought about these questions before, but he could not find any answer to them. Until today, when his actions allowed him to see the real body of the universe furnace, allowing him to find the answer to his question. The edge of the universe was chaos. It could even be said that the universe had no end, because chaos itself was disorderly and chaotic. If the 3,000 worlds and the black ink battlefield were considered a single entity, then this whole entity should be surrounded by endless chaos. The eruption of the universe furnace was slowly transforming this chaos into a part of the universe, expanding its borders without limit. Realizing this, Yang Kai failed to stop his laughter. No wonder no one has been able to find the true body of the universe furnace all these years. It does exist, but it is at the very edge of the universe. Who would have even thought of coming here to search for it? And so what if I found it? Yang Kai had previously considered whether he would have a chance to refine the universe furnace if he could find its true body, but looking at it now, he understood that this idea was completely impossible. Such a treasure was not something the human race could control. It was the source of the universe, of everything. Trying to refine it would be akin to trying to refine the universe itself. Compared to such an endeavor, finding a way to kill Mo would be child's play. Just as Yang Kai's thoughts were racing, the universe furnace that was flying through the void underwent another change. All of a sudden, a powerful suction came from the furnace, devouring the chaos in the nearby void in a flash. The massive and majestic universe furnace seemed to have transformed into a bottomless pit. It only seemed to draw in chaos, however, while whatever it had spewed out, whether it was the embryonic universe worlds, various celestial phenomena, or even the invisible and formless Tao strengths, they were completely unaffected. Furthermore, the devouring force became stronger and stronger, so strong that an enormous vortex visible to the naked eye had appeared at the mouth of the universe furnace. Watching this from afar, Yang Kai was stunned, but not too surprised. When he was in the universe furnace world, Yang Kai had discovered that whether it was the infinite river that flowed across the entire universe furnace world or the 9 grand Tao evolutions of the universe furnace, all of them involved the mysteries of the chaos evolving into 10,000 grand Taos. When he first entered the universe furnace, it was also filled with chaos, and it was in that chaos-rich environment that all kinds of strange things were born, even the Chaos Spirit clan. But the key question was, where did the chaos in the universe furnace come from? It came from here. The universe furnace was located at the edge of the universe and swallowed chaos to fill itself. Whenever it reached its limit, it would convert this chaos into 10,000 grand Taos. And when the universe furnace had been filled to its limit, it would appear once more. When the chaos inside the universe furnace had completely evolved into the 10,000 grand Taos, the universe furnace would close and everything inside would be spewed out, expanding the universe further. This was a true samsara. It could be said that regardless of whether it was the world the human race had explored or the world they had not set foot on, both had been created by the repeated samsara of the universe furnace. This process had been going on for countless years, and perhaps it would continue until the chaos was completely consumed by the universe furnace. It was like a painting that was being painted from ancient times to the present, grand and magnificent. Compared to this, the war between the human race and the Black Ink clan seemed so small and insignificant. Yang Kai followed the universe furnace, staring at it in a daze, his heart rapidly beating until finally, after a long time, he suddenly stopped. There was no need to follow any further. After witnessing the entire process of the universe furnace expanding the universe, witnessing the cycle of the universe furnace devouring and expelling, Yang Kai had figured out the origin of how worlds were created and how the universe came to be. It could be said that many of Yang Kai's doubts had been answered. However, no matter how one looked at such a painting, it was still shocking. His original intention was to find the true body of the universe furnace and try to refine it to see if he could use it for himself. Yang Kai had indeed found the real body of the universe furnace, but he no longer had any thoughts about refining it, because after witnessing everything, he knew that was nothing but a fool's dream. "Big brother, how do we go back?" After a long silence, Thunder Shadow suddenly asked a crucial question. Yang Kai had been expelled by the universe furnace along with the tributary. Now that the universe furnace was swallowing the chaos, it had obviously closed down. In other words, the members of the human race and Black Ink clan inside the universe furnace had already left, so how could he return? Even if he were to rush into the universe furnace now, it would be meaningless, not to mention the fact that there was still a question of whether he could. Even if he did somehow manage to get inside, there was a high chance he would be trapped and unable to escape. Then he would have no choice but to wait for the next time the universe furnace opened. It was hard to say when the universe furnace would open again. Maybe it would open in 10,000 years, or perhaps it would be hundreds of thousands of years, no one could say for certain. Yang Kai turned a deaf ear to Thunder Shadow's question, and instead silently circulated his strength, trying to connect with the world tree. Even at the primordial heaven's source grand restriction, Yang Kai only needed to connect with the world tree to reach it. After receiving the old tree's guidance, he could then enter the grand ancient ruins boundary. Unfortunately, he did not get any response this time. Although he had expected this, Yang Kai was still a little disappointed after having gotten the confirmation. The reason he was able to connect to the world tree was because he had refined and saved thousands of universe worlds in the past. Each of these universe worlds had a corresponding world fruit on the old tree, and through this relationship, he had formed a close connection with it. So, whenever he wanted, he could use the world tree's power to enter the grand ancient ruins boundary. It could be said that the world tree itself was connected to all the remaining universe worlds and the 3,000 worlds itself. Back then, Yang Kai had left behind a completely dead universe world just outside the primordial heaven's source grand restriction so that he could easily check up on it whenever he wanted. However, this place was at the edge of the universe, and the world tree's connection clearly couldn't reach such a distant and mysterious location, so it was naturally impossible to reach out to it. If we go in the opposite direction, we'll eventually find our way back. Yang Kai heaved a sigh. Perhaps it would take an incomparably long time for him to return to the 3,000 worlds, but that was the only way. Although he had miscalculated and this venture didn't yield much tangible results, the fact that he was able to witness the universe furnace swallow and refine chaos, giving birth to the new universe worlds, made this trip completely worthwhile. This might not enhance his strength, but it would have a profound impact on his future path. After taking one last deep look at the rapidly departing universe furnace, Yang Kai turned around and set off. In his mind, Fang Tian Ci heaved a sigh. Mo Na Yi really got it easy. Thunder Shadow was stunned for a moment before quickly responding, right, that guy's luck is too good. Originally, if everything had gone as usual and nothing unexpected happened, Yang Kai and Mo Na Yi would have appeared at the same location when the universe furnace closed. With Yang Kai's current strength, the heavily injured Mo Na Yi, who had not been able to recover, would not have been his opponent. Most probably, Yang Kai would have killed him on the spot, thereby eliminating a strong enemy of the human race. However, Yang Kai's actions gave Mo Na Yi a chance to survive. The universe furnace was already closed and Mo Na Yi had most likely escaped back to the no-return pass. Yang Kai had no idea how long it would take for him to return, but by the time he did, Mo Na Yi might have already recovered from his wounds. By then, it really would not be that easy for Yang Kai to kill him. Nonetheless, it was useless to mull over what had already happened. So long as he was strong enough, he would have a chance to kill Mo Na Yi. Hurrying along and gazing towards the horizon, Yang Kai calmed himself. When the universe furnace appeared, it triggered a war between the human race and the Black Ink clan, one that should be in full swing right now. Fortunately, the human race had given birth to 4 new Ninth Order Open Heaven Realm Masters in the universe furnace, him, Xiong Shan, Yang Shui, and Oyu Yang Lai. Yang Shui should have returned to the primordial heaven's source grand restriction so she could not partake in the war in the 3,000 worlds for now. Xiong Shan and Oyu Yang Lai, on the other hand, could lead an army to fight the Black Ink clan. Counting Luo Ting He and Wei Jun Yang, who had just advanced to the Ninth Order, the human race now had 4 Ninth Order Masters to rely on. As long as they did not make any rash moves, taking care of the Black Ink clan shouldn't be a problem. Rather, Yang Kai was slightly worried about old ancestor Xiao Xiao and Wu Qing's side. These two had been suppressing the Black Ink giant spirit god in Wind Mist territory. When the war broke out between the two sides, The black ink giant spirit god would definitely not sit by and watch. There was a high chance that it would make a move. If it insisted on escaping, there was nothing the two Ninth Order masters could do. Fortunately, Yang Kai had left a trump card with old ancestor Xiao Xiao in the past. So, even if the black ink giant spirit god managed to escape, the human race would still be able to contain it. Hopefully, by the time he returned, things had not become too bad. Thinking so, Yang Kai ordered Fang Tian Ci, second brother, you take the helm. Fang Tian Ci promptly agreed and took control of his body, teleporting forward using space principles. Had anyone else been stranded at the edge of the universe, even if it was a Ninth Order master, it would have taken them an incredibly long time to make it back, but Yang Kai was proficient in the Tao of space. Even if he was at the edge of the universe, he would still be able to return after some time. Furthermore, he had Fang Tian Ci to assist him. At this moment, while Fang Tian Ci had taken over a part of his body, Yang Kai focused on digesting the gains he had obtained from the universe furnace. Marshall Peak. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,